Thank you for joining us for the Quantum Soundtrack, Part 1, Music's Influence on Heart Coherence. I'm Sophia Smith, and I'll be your host this evening. We are joined by two special guests tonight, our chairwoman, Rose Kayola, and author, speaker, producer, and composer, Barry Goldstein, who has composed and provided music for many of Dr. Joe's meditations. If you've ever felt moved by music and wondered about the incredible impact that sound can have on your life, you're in the right place this evening. I'm going to go over some logistics before we get started. Barry and Rose are going to start the session with a discussion about music's impact on heart coherence and the role that music has played in each of their lives. After hearing from them, we're going to go into a live Q&A with our audience. If you have a question you want answered, please send it in the chat. We'll be selecting questions that we receive to be answered live. And if your question is selected, you'll get a notification on Zoom that it's going to be answered live, and we'll ask you to come off of mute. Only questions that are sent in the chat are going to be answered, so please make sure to send them in. After the Q&A, we're going to go into Dr. Joe's Synchronizing Your Energy to Love meditation that features Barry's music. Now, without further ado, I'd love to welcome Rose Kayola and Barry Goldstein to the session. Barry, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, everybody. So beautiful to be here with you this evening. I'm so excited to be part of this with Give to Give. And I want to just tap into that we are not just talking today, but we are opening up a beautiful sacred space and to really let the music begin the conversation for us tonight or today, and for you to have the ample space to set an intention for yourself, to amplify your energy in whichever way you would like, and to just allow yourself to receive. You probably had a lot going on today, and I am going to just create a live piece of music. I have no idea what I'm going to be playing based on the energy of the group and the people that are here today. And together we are going to create a coherent field to start off this amazing conversation this evening on the power of music and how that can relate to heart coherence. So if it feels good for you, just place your hands on your heart, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just allow yourself to receive. And just give yourself a big breath in through your heart and release any stress you're holding in that heart space out.
Wow,
And so we begin.
that was amazing. Barry, such a big fan for so many years. I'm so honored to be able to do this interview with you. So thank you so much for making the time to do it. I
My
know.
pleasure. I'm a
So
fan too.
Yay. So many of our listeners are also huge fans, and how you started the whole evolution of your life with sound and music and heart connection. Can you tell our audience, like, what how can you elaborate on the power of sound and what it means to you and how you got started in all this?
Well, I mean, that is a long, long story. And Rose, it starts in New York. So, but for me, the common thread that comes through for all of the years that I've been doing is music has always been a bridge for me. So I never thought of it just as art and entertainment, but I was always utilizing it to get to one emotional state to another. And based upon where I was, would be what type of music I would play to get me there, So, and even growing up, I grew up in the Bronx in a place called Co-op City. It was a very tough neighborhood. And even my friends at a very early age, this was way before playlists existed and we only had boom boxes. Every guy had literally 30 minutes to play their mixtape. And you would literally watch their energy transcend from one emotional state to another based on them hearing their own music and what it meant to them in their lives. So that has just continued for me. Watching these guys, from alcoholic families, watching them gang members in their families, watching, very challenging situations, seeing how music played a role in their lives actually helped me to see how could I use music as a vehicle. So started playing at a very young age, played guitar, came up through the ranks as a producer, producing a lot of club and hip hop music in New York. And, I became my own experiment basically for my own stress and anxiety and sleeping challenges. And that's really how it started. I didn't think anyone would be listening to this type of music.
I bet.
Because, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish.
No. Because as a pop producer, our goal was to get people humming to a specific chorus. And when you're doing music like this, the whole idea is not to occupy the mind too much with anything that moves us to an analytical space, because that takes us out of meditation. So it literally meant that I had to change my way of thinking and producing music. And that was really what started it for me. Once it became successful for me in my own practices, then I started sharing it and it started rippling outward from there.
Right. But then you made this connection with the heart, and the coherence and the frequencies around, the earth and around us. When did that, was there something significant that happened in your life that made that connection for you? Or was it a piece of music that you created that, you had this huge breakthrough with? What was it?
Yeah. So it was for me when I was going through these challenges myself. I knew that I was getting burnt out in the music business. And maybe a lot of people who are watching can relate to this, when you set an intention and then you achieve it, and it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be. And I just had to take a real strong look at what my mission and vision was. And I wanted to rewind to that kid who sat on the edge of his bed playing guitar, who was enthralled with music. So when I started doing this experiment, I looked online to see ways that I could connect through my heart with music. And the information that I found was, and this is really important, that our heart at a relaxed state beats at 60 beats per minute. And that when we target our heart with that same tempo and music, we have the ability to do what's called entrainment. So our internal metronome, which is our heart, has the ability to synchronize with that music and move to those relaxed states. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. What would happen if I set my metronome for 60 beats per minute? And instead of me composing the music, I would decompose to the music. Let the music come through me. I don't want to know what I'm going to play. I just want to let connect with something beyond myself that is going to collaborate with me. And that's what I started to do. And I found that I was moving to these meditative trance states while I was creating music. I didn't know what heart coherence was, because I don't even think that terminology existed then. I didn't know what entrainment was because I never heard about it before. But it's exactly what I was doing, was entraining with the music to create heart coherence. And so I was always about, how can we use music to come home to the heart, not just the physical heart, but our heart being the home of our soul's purpose as well. And that's what always has guided me.
Right. And then you evolved to, creating music that influences different states of consciousness.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that is achieved?
Well, it's, a lot of it is through that process of entrainment, but it's also about, it's a recipe. It's a secret recipe, Rose. I can't share everything with you, because it's like your mom's meatball recipe. You could have the recipe, but she always kind of leaves out one or two ingredients, as well, because she wants her meatballs to be special, but
Excellent. Okay, yeah, I get it.
but the secret ingredient, I'm just playing. I'm gonna give you all the secrets, because we're all uniquely different anyway. So even if I told you exactly what I do, it's not
like
gonna
you
be.
anyway.
It's,
So
well, someone might do it differently and more and beautifully for their audience or whoever's connecting with them. So, but it's always it's 4 parts for me. So it's it's connecting and entraining at those tempos that are going to induce that state, allow us to entrain and bring our energy to where we want it to be, in that relaxed state. So once your body moves to that parasympathetic state, everything else comes into alignment with that. When your heart comes into that state, your brain starts moving into that state and producing more alpha brainwaves as well. So that's definitely a part of it, synchronizing the heart. Secondly is intention. And third is that the emotion aligns with the intention. And so I can have the intention of, Rose, I want to create this piece and I want you to feel the essence of love when I put my hands on the keyboard. But if I had a really challenging day and I come into the studio and my emotion's not aligned with that intention, it's not going to matter what my intention is. They have to be aligned. They have to meet and mesh together in order to create that coherence. And the fourth part of that is my knowledge and my background as a composer, which everyone brings their own unique way of composing, just like artists have their own unique way. So I'm bringing the history of 40 years of working with this type of music into that recipe so that I can take all my knowledge and all my expertise, but when my fingers hit the keys, I can throw all of that out the window and connect with something beyond myself, because I know that I have my own unique heart code, my own imprint that's going to come through that music when I create the intention of creating with something beyond me. And that's really the secret. The secret ingredient is, don't think you're anything in your life, not just music. Don't think you're creating alone. When you bring in whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, Christ consciousness, it doesn't matter what you call it, it's what you're connecting to. That is where the collaboration and the magic and what I call the gumbo happen, the spice that you want in there.
Right. And the advantage too, like you working with music is, so if you are having that bad day, you can listen to different types of music, right? To kind of get you out of it and bring you back into, where you want to be. And before you go into your connection with heart coherence and brainwaves, right?
Right. I mean, and that's really the key. That we talk a lot about heart coherence, and we know that it's connected to elevated emotions, compassion, kindness, all the other gratitude, all of the beautiful emotions. But when you're having a challenging day, sometimes it's hard to access that. And that's part of the conversation that I am here to share with my mission is, how can we use music to magnify mission, what our purpose is, is living in our heart, and access those states when it's one of those challenging days and it's snowballing out into, oh my God, it was one of those days. Well, what happens if you caught that in the morning before it was, turning into one of those days, and you said, oh my God, I am going to play my favorite song that connects me to my gratitude, to gratitudes, so I can connect back in with my own unique vibration. Because it's like taking a shower. Sometimes we have other people's energy that comes into our field and it takes us off our kilter. And so you have to come back to you. How are you going to do that? Music does it in such grace and ease, because it doesn't give us a chance to put up walls, to protect ourselves, to defend ourselves. And all of a sudden we find ourselves, oh my God, we're crying from a piece of music, or we're grieving a parent that we haven't had the chance to grieve, or we're just connecting with a creative idea because we're moving into alpha brainwaves. Whatever it is, I invite you to find one or two pieces of music that are going to move you in that way. And it doesn't have to be just like my music or new age music. Like I love Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World, Sly and the Family Stone, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. Like this part of my gratitude playlist, in the morning, to ignite my energy too, depending on where I want to go. So, and that's the big question. Where am I now? Where do I want to go? And what piece of music's going to take me there? We schedule everything else in our life. Why can't you schedule a piece of music in there when you're looking at your daily schedule and say, oh my God, I'm in a high energy meeting in the morning. I think I'm going to play, something very up. And that's really the key. Is like anything else, it needs to become a program, and you need to program yourself.
You just gave me a great idea, a gratitude playlist. I love that. And now that we're going into the holidays, like I'm going to create a gratitude playlist for myself. So thank you for, I will. So now also you've been so, and the unique quality, one of the unique qualities that you have is that you're just so genuine and so real, and you really articulate what the mission is and what the journey is, and how your whole evolution has evolved. Now, what was there one profound moment in your life where you had this major transformative experience, where that aha moment that happened to you with music?
Yeah, I mean, there've been a couple, but I'll share some personal ones with you. One was that I received a song from start to finish in a dream called Through the Eyes of God. And the song is about how we are all connected in oneness. And through the eyes of God, I have learned to see that I am everything and everything is me. And through the breath of God, I have learned to breathe and I am everything and everything is me. And it really like shook me up like big time, because I was brought up in the Jewish religion, but I didn't have a lot of, it was more traditionally. I didn't really resonate with traditional religion. So a song coming through called Through the Eyes of God, right, is going to trigger you. And if you have that background, and I was like, oh, this is a great song, but it's not going to go on any of my albums. What I realized was it was a gift from God, and it helped me to see that, I'm a good writer, but I'm a much better writer when God is writing with me. And it made me know that every creation that I step into can be a divine collaboration where I am receiving that same energy as I did in that dream. All I have to do is invite that source in with me. And that was the next step, saying I don't have my spiritual music. I don't have my pop music anymore. It's all spiritual now, because I was changed. It was like an aha moment. And everything I did from then on was inviting God into my space to collaborate with me. And of course, God never says no when you invite that source in. So that was really life changing.
Wow. I mean, yeah, it would be for anyone. That's incredible. Now, how has that experience shaped your perspective on the potential to see how music can impact our lives and our different states of consciousness?
Well, yeah, that's the fun part, because when you start with that, like, how is it not going to ripple out? Like, if you're collaborating with that source energy. So then it's just a matter of what is your intention? Where do you want to go? And part of mine was really reaching out into the medical field where music could be used as medicine. And I've seen it ripple out. My music into Alzheimer's patients, or using it to manage agitated behaviors and sleep. People birthing children into the world with my music, using it during cancer treatments, dental treatments, using it for bereaved loved ones. I had someone come up to me and said, I was going to end my life, and I sat in my car in the desert and I listened to your album, Lay Down in Love, and it literally saved my life. That night, that music saved my life.
Wow.
And that really brought it home for me, because my wife's the doctor in my family who's constantly saving lives. And I was like, wow, music is we're not giving it enough credit in its impact to save lives and to be medicine, to nourish people with music on a very profound level.
That's beyond anything that I could have even imagined. I mean,
I know.
and you hear that,
amazing.
and hearing people tell you that is priceless. So you know the impact that you're having on the universe here with your beautiful music. Now, taking that into Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations.
Who? I'm sorry, who?
Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we know him, right?
Yeah.
The basis for how our foundation was started.
Yeah.
Is there are there certain tactics or musical tools that you use to help create that synergy, and creating that music for his meditations?
Yeah, I mean, it's been very collaborative, Rose. Dr. Joe loves music, and he knows what he likes and what resonates with him. And you might have seen it when we were doing live events, and I was playing live music with the audiences. We had no idea what we were going to play. We were tapping into group energy to create coherence. And he was literally orchestrating. He would go like this, go up and down or longer, right? So he knows what he wants to hear, and could really feel and gauge energy even before it's going out to audiences. And I'm the same way on my end as well. We're tapping into that energy before it's happening. And it's all about amplifying that creative process together. Again, where's the audience before they listen to this? Where do we want them to end up? And then we're going back and forth like two kids, like having fun. Oh, this is great, but yeah, let's add another. I need a little bit more here, you know? And we had this whole joke, like when we first started working together,
Remember.
he would send me his feedback and he said, you know, at 423 in the piece, I need more cowbell. And I'm like, I don't know if you've ever seen that skit on Saturday Night Live where there's a whole thing around I need more cowbell. And if you haven't typed in Saturday Night Live more cowbell, and I thought I had no idea what he was talking about. He was joking with me, you know, and there was no cowbell there. You know, he was referring to the skit. He finally sent me the skit, and I was like laughing my rear off, you know. And that's it. I think you have to step into creation like two kids, you know, doing it for the first time, and also have the sensitivity to know where you want the audience to be with that. So I am using specific tempos. I'm using, you know, compositional techniques that I've established. I'm using specific harmonics, but ultimately it has to move him and me first. Like we have to love it, and then it ripples outward for everyone else who is, you know, has resonance with it to tap into it. But it always starts from the artist's point of view, never starts from, oh, let's do this because this is being done, or let's do that, let's use this frequency because this is supposed to do this. It's individualized medicine. You know, the best treatment you can give a patient is looking at them individually. So each album we create is individual and unique to what we're trying to achieve.
No, I want to tell a funny story. I don't know if you remember, but I had met Barry years ago at a workshop with Barbara Bijou, and was just, you know, floored. I bought every CD that was available, and, you know, listened to them later on. And then at a Dr. Joe event, there you were on the stage. And this is at a time when there were maybe 400 people or 500 people at a workshop.
Mm-hmm,
There you were on stage. And I was like, oh, that's Barry. Oh my gosh. So I go running over, you know, you remembered me right away. And we had
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
this talk. And then I had said to Dr. Joe later on, I'm like, this is such a great marriage, you know, like Barry, his energy, his music is amazing. Like, how did you find him and how great? And I remember he looked at me, he's like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know about this. And it was like the first day, like the first time that you were working together. And I'm like, no, you got to go with it. I'm like, he's great. It's like a match made in heaven. And I'm going on, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know about this guy. And then I watched, you know, the rest of that day. It was like before the workshop started, and I'd go in and out of the ballroom, and he's doing his thing, and you're watching him, and you're trying to get that vibration. And once it clicked, it
Right.
was like this explosion, and it's a memory that I have that I will never forget. So, I mean, like that was awesome. And yeah, once, you know, you hit it, like that was it. You got
Yeah. And I think with all, it's a great lesson because with all collaborations, like you have to kind of tap into the person's energy. Sometimes it takes a while to kind of land
it.
on it, you know, and I was bringing what I thought was needed, you know, to the table, and him as well. And, you know, the first meditation or two didn't really click initially. So we had a talk and we fine tuned and we tweaked and we learned to communicate better. And that's how it, you know, it's all about communication. And there's a great saying by Hans Christian Andersen, where words fail, music speaks.
Hmm.
And that's really the key. Music's a language. And, you know, we have to find that common thread sometimes between how I interpret that language and how others do when you're working together.
You know, I recently saw a YouTube that you did when you're talking about the heart, and you're asking everyone to kind of put their hand on their heart and just tap into this energy. Can you just go into a little bit about that energy of the heart, or the heart code, as you call it?
Yeah. Well, here's where I think it really starts, and this is really powerful in terms of working with the heart and music. Most of us think that music is something that happens to us, right? That we hear, it's outside of us. But I'm here to redefine that for you. So music's not something that happens to us, it's something that happens in us. And when you can realize that your heartbeat and your breath and everything that's going on in your body are literally a symphony that's going on, and your heart is the conductor of that, and it's sending out a tempo to the rest of the systems in your body. So when you learn to listen to that, if you could close your eyes, do it with me for a second, and place your hands on your heart, and just really allow yourself, those hands, to be like your way to target your heart, and just to allow yourself to just feel the vibration of your own heart. That is the life force that comes through your body, that your inner rhythm that you can synchronize to, and bring a big breath in through the heart. And then really release any stress you're holding in that area through your heart and out. And with that audible sigh out, okay, that is, I call that a soul sound. So it's your like soul saying everything's going to be okay. Now, if you do that for 5 times in the middle of your day, it might take you a minute. And it's literally, we all have a heartbeat, a breath. It ties us together. But no one has the exact same one as you do, Rose. Or no one has the exact same one as any one of the people listening here today. So when you do that and you drop down into your heart, and you could really fine tune how you're hearing things, you're not hearing that with your ears, are you? You heard it with your hands. You heard it with your body. So that's when music speaks to us, it speaks to our whole body, and our whole body says, yes, this is expansive music for me. I can feel this in my heart. And that's how you tell whether music is right for you or not, because you can feel it resonating in your heart. So when you learn to listen in that acute level of awareness, and you can hear your body doing these beautiful sounds, then when you listen to music, it's magnified. When you listen to regular music, you're listening to it in a much more expansive way.
I mean, even just doing that for, what was it, 30 seconds, or I don't even think it was a minute, just kind of like recalibrated my whole system.
It's coming home to you.
Yeah.
You're coming home, of course, right? It's going to recalibrate you. Like, you might have a great time when you're traveling and sleeping at different hotels, and it's pretty cool, right? That's what it's like when you're going through different challenges and situations in your day. It's great, but nothing like coming home and sleeping in your own bed. Right? This is your own bed. So
Right. I get it. Now, I used to think that, something was wrong with me, as I was growing up, because music always really, it touched me deeply. I could listen to a song and I can cry easily. I'd go to an opera, go to a concert and have fun. Or, if I was singing a song and I was depressed, it really always resonated with me. And I never understood why, until I got older. So telling, some of our audience that maybe doesn't have or doesn't know how to find that, are there other tools or tips that they could, that you can give that will help them tap into that even deeper?
yes. Well, yeah, and there's a lot of research now around, preferred music. So music that you love is going to move you. So like during COVID, I went through all of my library of songs to see what songs still resonate with me, and like repurchased like the Eagles' greatest hits, and repurchased Seals and Croft and James Taylor's greatest hits, music I love that was represented who I was in a happy time in my life. So can you inventory your current music, and what you have probably is already there? It's like cleaning out your closet. Go into your playlist that you have, or your music, and start picking out songs and separating them into playlists for different emotions. And I talk a lot about this in my book. Like, you can create playlists for every emotion, every situation in your life. You can create a playlist. And it goes back to what our friend Barbara said when you and I met. Make music a ritual, not just something you're listening to it as art and entertainment, but something that is going to amplify something you're going through. You might have lost a loved one. Maybe you want to create a playlist that is going to honor their memory. I did that for my mom, Tom Jones, Andre Segovia, all these people that honored that. So create a program. And if you don't know where to start, pick your happy song, one song that makes you feel happy no matter what. For me, it's the Jackson 5, The Love You Save.
Oh, I
I
love
can't
that.
put that on and be like depressed.
Okay.
So for those of you who said, oh my God, I don't know where to start, one happy song.
I love it. Okay. Before we go into our Q&A, tell us what's next. Like, where are you going? Where are you going to be? What workshops are happening for you that we can join?
Yeah, well, I have a course coming up with the Shift Network that is actually going to be on the energy centers, but it's going to be a sound approach to the energy centers. So how to use tuning forks, how to use bijas, how to use chanting, how to use drums to basically identify blocks, release them, and then attune to higher frequencies. So that'll be coming up in December. And in March, I'm doing a retreat with my amazing wife called Harmonious Health, the convergence of music and medicine. And I think you guys are going to share that with people today as well. So those are the two main things. And of course, continued collaboration with Dr. Joe and the encephalon community is always amazing. And working with people for film, TV, a lot of other things now that I'm going more back into mainstream to share these, these type of protocols.
Right. Yes, we'll be sure to post everything in the chat and how to find you as well. Okay, I think we want to open it up to Q&A.
Awesome.
Sophia, you're going to jump in and okay, here we go.
Yes, I'm going to jump in. For the first question, I would love to invite Daria up to speak. Daria, if you want to come on and answer your question, have your question answered.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, how are you?
Good. It's nice to hear your voice because I always hear your music. I wanted to ask you if you can describe to us, like, even if you close your eyes and you could describe to us what your feelings are in your heart as you make your music.
Okay, sure. Let me do that with you. So I was doing that when I was tapping into that piece at the beginning. It's when I'm doing it, I'm kind of receiving messages in different ways. Sometimes I hear, more tender, or I hear, okay, this needs to be like a more grounding tone here. Sometimes it's almost like the universe is humming melodies to me. And I usually just allow things to come through. And what I'm feeling in my heart is a state of expansion. So if you close your eyes and if you want to join me in this, what I'm usually feeling is like the energy of being on top of a mountain and having my arms wide open in this big V, almost like creating a chalice of energy for the universe to funnel into my heart. And I just allow that to come in and allow myself to receive fully in terms of that energy and tapping in to the energy of pure love and pure consciousness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. And up next, I would love to invite Laura to have her question answered.
Hi, Barry. Such a big
Hi,
fan.
Laura.
Hi. Such a big fan of your music. I was introduced to it through Dr. Joe's meditations. Um, I was wondering if there is a specific frequency of the music that you create to inspire the opening of the heart effect. Sometimes I just feel that right away from the music.
Yeah, I mean, there is a specific frequency, but it differs in every musical piece. I'm not one to say that like, okay, well, all compositions at 432 are going to be beneficial, or all, compositions in solfeggio are going to be helpful. I really try to tune in to the musical piece, and I compare it to nutrition. If you think of nutrition, or you think of when you go to a doctor's office, broccoli might be great for most people, but if broccoli creates inflammation when you eat it and you have an allergic reaction, then it's not going to be good for you. So I don't believe that one frequency is going to be a panacea for anything. And the frequencies I used are what moves me when I'm composing. Again, it's for me as the artist first, and it could, when I'm playing around with sound and textures and frequencies, I'm like an artist sketching on a canvas. Oh, I think I like this color. Oh, red's cool. But then I might combine that with yellow and wow, oh, orange is perfect, right? So I'm playing with a lot of different things. Would you also, I think that frequencies, when we're asking about frequencies, we tend to simplify them. Every note on the keyboard that I play is a different frequency. So when we're talking about frequencies, we're really talking about how we're tuning the whole keyboard more so than one specific frequency. And so it's a combination sometimes of using 5 different frequencies to create an opening in a passage where you feel like, oh my God, that was so beautiful. Right there, I felt something.
Mm.
It could be 5 different frequencies. It could be moving to a different chord. You know, there's not one set thing that I ever come back to because it makes it boring. So I like to play with different frequencies and see what resonates.
Okay. Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome.
Up next, I would love to invite Adrienne on.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Barry, I love your music as well. And one of the things that I've always noticed, I don't know if it's just me, but I do think it's true for other people as well, is why is it that it seems that music that's in a minor key seems to be more heart opening and go deeper into the heart than music that is in a major key?
You know, it can actually vary. That can actually vary, and it really depends. I mean, sometimes music in a minor key can make you feel very sad, and that's why it will drop you down into your heart, because maybe there's some, you know, emotional things that might not be resolved there that you're ready to tap into when you hear that. And major keys can also be very heart opening. I like use major keys a lot in opening, like in Courageous Heart that I did with Dr.
Yes.
Joe. You know, there it goes from minor to major in there. And so sometimes it's the contrast of using both, where you're allowing yourself to process through that minor key, and that allows you to kind of feel, feel some sadness is okay, you know, to tap into that, because we have to identify what we're holding before we can release it. And then, you know, tapping into those major keys that sometimes make us feel more inspirational or more triumphant, like in Courageous Heart, are very helpful in having that contrast. And there are studies, you know, that show that our attention goes sometimes to where there is less. So when there's silence in a specific area, or is a very big piece of music that goes to a very smaller piece, you might notice that in a lot of my pieces, I love to take people on a journey, that it doesn't stay in the same place dynamically. It goes, you know, it could build very slowly into something really big, and then all of a sudden it drops down into the heart. So it's all about that contrast. Like artists know, wow, if I use, you know, this color with that color, that could get people to hear. It's kind of knowing some basics and how to achieve that, and then just going with intuition. So I think it's really again what's needed in the moment. A lot of times as well for you musicians, I'm working with fifths, so it's not, sometimes it doesn't commit to a major or a minor, because I'm playing the first and the fifth, but it's the third note in the middle that defines whether it's major or minor. So I can stay in between the two as well.
Oh yeah, thank you for the fifth, because I know what you're talking about, and that's the feeling that I think sometimes just takes me over the edge in a really beautiful way. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. You're welcome.
Up next, I would love to invite Bavajo up to have her question answered. Bavajo, would you like to have your question answered?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this is so important to me and I lost it. That was cute. Barry,
Yes.
we are dovetailing into each other so beautifully.
Awesome.
I'm looking for calibration from you. And this is going to be a strange question, but can
Okay.
you give us a key where you began, source? Because if you can give me a key, I can calibrate to it. And I know it changes with every song and every meditation.
Okay. So you basically want me to tap into, do you want me to tap into the group energy or your energy?
What are you guided?
I mean, I think if I'm tapping into your energy is probably because it will be helpful for other people here as well.
Well, then that's
So,
synchronizing our energy, correct?
well, it's also yeah, I'm synchronizing,
Yes,
calibrating,
yes,
you know,
yes.
you say
Okay, go
potato,
ahead.
I say potato, it's all good. So what I'm feeling is I'm feeling that connecting to a tone and a frequency that would be grounding would really be helpful for everyone today and for you. So whether it's due to what's going on in the world, and our heads are swirling around in controversy, or whether it is something that's happening in your inner circle, that's the energy I'm picking up on. And so I would invite everybody to place their hands on the back of their spine and the base of their spine.
Okay.
Okay. And so this is kind of like similar to when you go to a chiropractor and they put a pad on your back and it's sending a specific frequency into your spine to calibrate your energy and through your physical body. So connecting to the earth, and connecting to a tone that is going to anchor us in on our next step so that we feel supported and nurtured on our path forward, whatever that may be, and to allow ourselves to feel the essence of the mother. That's what I'm picking up on. So when we tap into Mother Earth, it's that energy of the mother that we can all use a little bit of mothering right now. So accessing that through the base of your spine is sending a frequency that is the lowest frequency that you can possibly send through. So I'm going to do what mine is, and then I'm going to invite you all to do one on your own without me. And I am going to send through the sound of you. So you is the sound that I connect with for that energy center of my base chakra. So it's you. And I give myself a big breath in, and on my out breath, I send that tone out with all of that energy of my in breath. So I'm utilizing my in breath to really send it out and to make it vibrate in my mouth so that it's sending it directly down to my hand. Okay, so it's going to, for me, it's going to sound something like this. And I just want to let you know it's not always pretty. It doesn't have to be beautiful for those of you saying, oh, I'm not a singer. This is not about it being pretty. So here's mine. I'm going to do one more big breath in. So you can see I was kind of searching for that tone. It wasn't just, oh, I'm going to send one tone. I'm going to work on that till I can feel that in that center. And once I hit that target, like Dr. Joe says, here's your target when you're aiming for your pineal gland. This is the case of, I'm saying, here's a target of aiming for that base chakra. When I hit that target, I felt it vibrating all through the bottom of my legs and through my feet. And that's a way you can work with that and recalibrating yourself and connecting to the planet, feeling yourself more in your physical body and connecting to the earth can be very helpful.
Wonderful. And up next, I would love to invite Stacy on to have her question answered.
Hello, Barry. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Stacy?
Great. Your music is just so beautiful. It's so inspirational. And I'm just wondering who inspires you?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, who inspires me now or who has inspired me in the past? You know, it kind of changes. So I listen to a lot of music. When I'm looking to move to an altered state and I don't want to listen to my own music necessarily, like I love chanting.
Mhm.
So when I'm chanting and I'm doing mantra, it's hard for me to stay in my inner thought process and move into that monkey mind, so to speak. So I love listening to Diva Pramal and Mitten. I love listening to old school Motown music.
Yeah.
I love listening to Bruce Springsteen. Uh, I love listening to, like I said, like old James Taylor, acoustic music, Cat Stevens, music that really like tells stories.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of amazing moments in my life. And I'm always looking for new music, so I'm constantly in search when people say, hey, you have to hear this. I love listening to something that I haven't heard and allowing myself to journey with different types of music as well.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And next up, I would love to invite Carmela on to have her question answered.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Barry. Hi, Rose.
Hi,
Thank you so
Carmela.
much. Hi. So, I'm actually from New Jersey, so I can relate to the New York story. Originally from Sicily, but my question is a little bit different. So, my dad's actually incapacitated, not walking, older, 92. I'm trying to help him rehabilitate. I actually have him listen to a lot of your music, and I'm just wondering if there's particular songs that connect with the elderly more because their brain is changing, that would
Hmm.
help with the pain and would help with contractures and rehabilitation. I feel like the doctors give up on our elderly and just think that uh, they're not going to improve. I still envision him walking, going back to Italy, and I'm thinking music can be a way to still connect with his mind.
Absolutely. And is he still cognizant and still kind of with you from a,
Um, so he's on a lot of meds, so he does have some confusion. Um, but he speaks only Sicilian, so his vocabulary is very limited. I've tried to get him to listen to meditation, so there's only so much understanding that he has
okay.
had all of his life. So I feel like music may be an avenue to help him even more if I know
Yeah.
enough about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, they're showing a lot in addition to like meditative music, which has shown benefit in research to like decrease agitated behaviors and help with sleep. That's great. But if you're looking to shift mood, and actually, tap him into a higher quality of life for connecting to
Yes.
some type of joy and happiness, is your family, is your mom still alive with you?
No, no.
Okay. So do you know of any music he used to play in your house that he used to love, or can you remember anything that you remember that he was music that he enjoyed when he was younger?
Yes, it would be old Italian music. I actually play it for him sometimes.
Yeah, well, see, I would say what's his reaction when you play it for him?
He feels happy. I can tell he likes it. It brings back memories of his youth. I think he just feels comforted by it. It feels to me.
Well, there you go. That's like testing out like a prescription, right? You start with a little
Hmm.
bit, you see if it agrees with you, right? And before you prescribe more of it, you want to make sure the dosage is correct, right? So if it wasn't
Hmm.
making him sad or but was making him happy, I would say increase the dosage, right? Just like medicine.
Good
So
idea.
yeah, and vary it, create a playlist, create an hour playlist for him. When does he need it most? Like, what's the part of his day that you think it would be most beneficial, and start to really create an awareness around his energy. Like maybe you start your own journal around your dad's energy and start writing down like when he seems to feel like like he has less energy, when he has more, and then you can gauge what type of music based on where he's at emotionally. Because ultimately, if you can tap him into more of that joy, you know, the body starts producing beneficial hormones to him, like
Ah,
dopamine, right? Dopamine,
right.
the reward hormone, and stops producing more non-beneficial hormones like cortisol, stress hormones that are making, you know, making him worse
Mm-hmm.
physically in that. So if you could really utilize music as medicine and just monitor him, like I said, you're going to monitor that prescription, see what's working and what's not, and create a program for him based on what you're seeing and
Mm-hmm.
feeling.
I love that. That's a great idea. He also listens to your music as well. I put it on for him, so
Well, he hasn't lost his good taste, so that's pretty cool. You know, I'm
no, he
just
hasn't. If it's he relaxes a lot when he listens to your music. So I was just trying to gauge
awesome.
like
Thank
what
you.
I should try more of. But there's great ideas because often he's in pain and somber, and I've been trying to get him more into the happy state and joyous state. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I would say as well that you don't necessarily have to even say, "Oh, Dad, listen to this. Oh, I want you to listen to this." Like, let it become part of the environment for him, so he doesn't feel like, you know, you're doing it even for a specific reason. Like, let go of the
Right.
outcome and allow him to
Mm,
have an experience and introduce it into his field. You know, and I mean, there are amazing studies that show that literally music, that preferred music and familiar that they love, can create
uh-huh.
neuroplasticity. It can connect
Oh
them to
wow.
memories where traditional language cannot. Music as a language can open up different memories and pathways. So use it. Yes.
Amazing. Great. Thank you so much. At first I thought it was a dumb question to ask you, but
Not at
this is
all. It's a
great.
great question. Awesome.
This is great. Thank you so much. So
You're welcome.
yeah, I definitely excited about trying it with him. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm excited too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barry. This was a wonderful Q&A, and I know that I learned a lot, so I'm sure our audience did as well. I'm going to pass things off to Rose now to speak a little bit about her experience and to introduce our meditation portion of the evening.
So yeah, this has been a tremendous treat for me too. And I'm always learning and I love to learn. You know, my whole experience with music has been, you know, I've studied, you know, a number of different disciplines and always came back to, you know, Dr. Joe's meditations because they were just, the music was what really, you know, transported me into those other realms and helped me tap deeper into myself and my consciousness. So I really understand how music is so impactful in our lives and you know, basically on a daily basis. So thank you for being the amazing person that you are, sharing your journey with us, and there's more to come. So super excited about that. And with that, do you have any other words that you want to say before we let, you know, our audience go into a meditation?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to say I want to honor Give to Give and all that you're doing and in the world. And that's why I wanted to do this, because I think it's really important to get people to events, right? And also to give people an opportunity to kind of feel what we're talking about firsthand. And I've been at many events. I've seen people who've gotten there from Give to Give and how many changes you're creating in the world through your heart and through this organization and your amazing team. So I would do it anytime. And I just want to honor that. And in terms of and you know I love you, and I'm so glad that I met you, and I love what you're doing. So in terms of the music that we're going into in this meditation, it's called The Field. You know, so that's kind of self-explanatory, because I wanted a piece that could really define, like, what would it feel like if you could tap into this unlimited field, what would that sound like musically? I saw a question in there. There's Barry tell a story in his music. So that's the story. This is what that's about. It's connecting to this unlimited field of all potential. If the universe was listening to what your intention was, and it is listening in this moment, what would your intention be if the universe could answer anything for you in this moment that you want to create? And of course, this is about synchronizing to love. So when I was creating this, that's the secret ingredient, Rose, that I didn't talk about, that your grandma put in her meatballs, she saw you and your family eating those meatballs before you even touched it, right? And she felt the love of knowing that her meatballs were going to be nurturing for her family. So that's what I put into this when I'm doing these meditations with Dr. Joe. The next level of creating that came through with Dr. Joe is picturing people being in that space even before they got into it. We were creating the space of what it would feel like to synchronize to love and be connected to that field. So there you go. That's what I have to say.
When you come into New York, I'm going to make you my meatballs, because everyone goes crazy for my meatballs.
And now I'm in the mood for you. I'm coming in Thanksgiving, so I'm going to take you up on that.
You got it to date. Maybe we'll film some of it too. Again, thank you, Barry. I'm excited for part 2 and 3. When we have those scheduled, your heart, your work, your music, your love is just, transcending. And I want to thank all of our supporters, because without you, we would not be able to offer this and do the work that we're doing. So continue, please, with your support. We are so grateful. And thank you. And please enjoy this amazing meditation.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Quantum Soundtrack Part 1, Music's Influence on Heart Coherence. Stay tuned for Part 2, Music's Influence on Brain Coherence. Details to come. Next month, in honor of Military Family Month, we're going to have a learning session focused on veterans. That session will be November 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you next time.